10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio, terrestrial radio. That is, we're also streaming live on internet radio at cklu.ca. And we're able to reach a worldwide audience that way. Along with streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, we're able to reach a worldwide audience. Although we are Sudbury-centric, talking about local issues, local news, we also talk about things that affect each and every one of us, whether it be in the region, the province, the country, the continent, or the world. So we do have many people joining us from all over, just wanting to catch the conversation, because this is your conversation on your station, CKLU 96.7 FM. It's a chance to share your views on the news. And so make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow our social medias, along with commenting, because we'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening. And today we have a very special guest on, a guest host, if you will, or just a guest to the show, which is my future son-in-law, David Lund. And he just happens to be American, and just happens to be, that's all the talk these days, are Canada-US relations, and everybody is getting all passionate and have all kinds of opinions and things. And so I just thought it would be great to have him come on the show, or actually he approached me and said, hey, it'd be great if I could come on the show. So either way, I think it was a mutual decision and beneficial for both of us, and I think for the audience. And so we'll have him on right after the weather, and we'll discuss these issues that we've been talking about on the show, and Canadians and Americans, for that matter, have been talking about for the last month or so. Well, since Donald Trump has become president, he's been doing all kinds of things, including imposing tariffs on the world, and we'll see what that's kind of done, and we'll get David's perspective as an American on that particular issue. So again, we encourage all of you to like, share, subscribe, follow, but mainly comment. And if you're not able to be on the live, if you're not able to comment, the conversation continues on Facebook immediately after the show. So make sure to, if you have something that's relevant to the discussion and you want to share it, please comment on the conversation. And the shows will be found on demand afterwards on Facebook and YouTube, also on x.com/Sudbury News. So make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow our social medias, as I said, for the third time now. So hopefully we get the point across, because the social medias we have, for some reason, because of the content we talk about, it's not too favorable for them to promote it. Like we had Vin the other day showing how hard it was for him to find the live on YouTube, when usually when you hit the bell and all these things, it tells you, look, there's a live of this particular page or channel that you're following. But for some reason, the social medias, in their policies, you can tell they don't want to encourage people discussing things. They just want controversial issues to be said to people without having interaction. They don't want conversations and people kind of figuring out together and unpacking what's really going on in our world. So the social medias kind of frown upon that. They demonetize you. They won't even monetize you to begin with, because it doesn't fall under their policies, their community guidelines. And that's what it is. So you got to kind of fight if you're listening to it on the radio. And like, I've never seen this on social media. It's because you actually have to go to facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News, and just type it in. Unfortunately, and even if you like it or follow it or whatever, it might not even show up. I know my wife, it still doesn't show that she's following the page. It just says she's invited. And I go on it myself and I hit unfollow, follow, unfollow, follow, and it refuses to allow her to follow Sudbury News. So again, with that, the amount of followers we have isn't indicative of the actual amount of people that we have trying to follow us or like the channel or the page. And as we're having a hard time, speaking of Facebook, my Facebook loading and my monitor to see how many people we have on, we'll just get to dive in with some weather. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and David Lund, my future son-in-law, who will be on the show as a guest. And we'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great show, I promise, or your money back. Okay, and weather, as usual, brought to you by Voyager Tire. Great people, great products, great prices. Visit them at the intersection of Falconbridge Kingsway and 2nd Avenue. Step right in, let them know that we sent you. You get a 10% discount on already discounted name brand tires. Currently, it's -3 degrees. Feels like -6. Partly cloudy out there. Today, we'll have some clearing. The wind will be from the north, 20 kilometers, becoming light late this morning. High of 8, wind chill -10. And tonight, increasing cloudiness, low of -1. Saturday, cloudy with a 60% chance of showers. Yes, showers. The high will be +3. Again, tomorrow, showers, high of +3, 60%. 40% chance of flurries or showers on Sunday, high of 3. Monday, April the 7th, high of +1, 40% chance of flurries. And then sunny on Tuesday, high of 0. High of 7 on Wednesday, mix of sun and cloud, 30% chance of showers on Thursday with a high of 8 degrees. I can't remember such a wet, snowy, messy March and April in my recent memory. And a look at your satellite here shows all of the cloud activity that's over us and all the way up to James Bay, all the way down to Toronto, all the way through Ontario. There is that clearing that's coming, though. Just around Thunder Bay, Wawa area, making its way to us. That's your Sudbury weather brought to you by Voyager Tire. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, our special guest, and more right after this. Okay, welcome back. And I'd like to introduce everybody to David Lund, and I'm going to get his mic on here. Good morning, Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. You know what I realized? I might need my headphones. I don't normally need them. I don't have a guest, but it's probably best to be able to hear what you're saying. So
Probably turn up my mic more.
yeah, no, you sound loud and clear, and you're looking great, by the way. There, you have a really good background. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You have your own kind of YouTube channels and stuff. Here's your chance to do some shameless promoting.
Shameless promoting. Okay, well, I go live on a constant basis. I have a huge following on TikTok and other social medias. I am from the U.S. Right now, I'm in Canada, and I'm writing a book, and that book is almost in the final stages before it comes out. So that's already been talked about, and people are saying it's going to go pretty big. So I'm kind of excited about that. And what else is there to say? Lots of stuff is going right in the world.
Okay, yes. So is your book going to go as big as Donald Trump big, or just like?
I don't know about that one. But it's a different kind of concept. It's not like the normal books that you have out there. It's going to be different perspectives, and hopefully it'll give a lot of people closure for many different situations where they're constantly afflicted with why did this person do this? What were they thinking and stuff? My book is going to basically do these little mini stories that are going to put you in the mind of those individuals. So it's a different kind of take on the story because you're going to get both sides of it, and it'll be played out in story form, but it'll put you in the head of the individual. So that person that sits there, why did he do this to my family? Why did this happen? Why did he choose this or drugs or something over our family and basically get locked up and everything? Like, all these scenarios there'll be different little stories. Each one's only like 3 chapters long, but it's going to be a different kind of book. It's going to be a book where one of these stories is going to hit home for someone, or they're going to know somebody, and then it just by word of mouth, it'll be excellent marketing.
So the
But
messiness that are human beings kind of thing, you'll be able to shed some light on maybe why life gets messy sometimes, and be able to kind of find some peace in that. for people.
absolutely,
Awesome.
to give some, just basically to help the healing process for quite a few people. That's the whole goal of the book, is to just give a different point of view or insight that may help people along the line.
Yep.
And it'll deal with every little story is going to be different, and it's only 3 chapters long each story, but it's going to deal with addiction. It's going to deal with, like, there'll be a story about addiction, there'll be a story about loss, there'll be a story about medical problems and then losing a loved one and things like that. But I'm going to put you in the mind of the person, like the other side of things. So hopefully it'll help a lot of people in a great way.
Awesome. And so you said that you have a following on TikTok and YouTube, other social medias. What are your channels about, just to give people an idea, kind of thing, or what you
It's
do?
Readings by Dave. I've been doing basically in a version of psychic readings and things like that. I've been doing online for the last 4 years, but professionally I've been doing Reiki healing, massage therapy, tarot card readings, psychic readings, things like that. That's basically the primary source. That's the kind of stuff that I've been dealing with when for the last 13 years. I've been doing that as an income, or as professionally. And so yeah, I've got a massive following on TikTok, building up all these other channels. I've got like 8 social medias, so sometimes it's a challenge to keep things going. But definitely, I'm definitely writing it out. And like I said, when I started announcing this book on my channel a couple years ago, like, people wanted to invest, people wanted to like get the message out there and everything. So they've been actually the driving force behind the book thing. So
Cool.
it's definitely become interesting.
Right on. So, uh, if you're able to enact your psychic abilities right now, can you tell us how many people are following right now on Facebook Live? We're just going to
Doesn't
put
work
you
like
to the
that.
test. Oh, sorry. I'm just kidding,
Probably
David.
25.
Close. You're very close. Yes, it's right about that. Just a few less. It's about to get to 25 in a few seconds. So maybe you're already seeing the future as it's about to hit 25 people on Facebook alone. There's people on YouTube, as well as people listening on the radio and online at cklu.ca. And with that, CKLU will be doing a fundraiser coming up. Bingo. Have you ever been to bingos before, David?
No, I've actually been I've actually been trying to go to one of those
Okay.
uh with your daughter. I've been trying to convince her. I was like, I like bingo though.
Yeah.
And it's just something we thought about doing, but
Well,
we're really, really busy.
well, maybe you can get her out to the CKLU fundraiser on Saturday, April the 19th, between 2 and 4 p.m. at the Trevi Tavern, which is in New Sudbury. I think tickets will be $30. It'll include 3 sheets of playing cards for a chance to win. This is the thing. This is a Sudbury thing. You won't hear this anywhere else. Actually, it might be taking off other places too, but Porchetta Bingo. Have you ever even heard of porchetta before, David?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Porchetta is a seasoned piece, like a pork roast kind of thing, and it's really, really good with the seasonings in it. It's really flavorful. It bursts of flavor in your mouth with all of the spices and everything. And so porchetta, you win porchetta. as a prize because it's very expensive or whatever. And it's a way to get together and have fundraisers for different places and whatever. I know one of the people who actually started it originally and was the president of the board of directors of a not-for-profit that I was on the board of. And it was pretty cool. Then I thought it was just a small thing, but it's kind of caught on. So here's a chance for you to get out and win some really good food because I know you love cooking. So, and you've never tried it before. So if you were the winner, you'd really win big by winning there. So it's a fundraiser for CKLU again, April 19th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Trevi Tavern. And this is coming on the heels of Pledge Week, which was a real success here for the radio station. We raised $4,000 over the course of Pledge Week. And it's because of people like our audience that are listening right now. And thanks to them for that. Much appreciated. And here's a chance to get out and have some fun. Raise money for a good cause, which is CKLU 96.7 FM. Been around since 1984, Dave. Do you remember that year?
Yep.
And
just slightly.
I was going to say, for me, it was a memorable year for music, and some of the greatest albums of all time came out.
The 80s and the early 90s were the best music years. Like, it all dropped off after the 2000s.
You can't get any better in a way. Like, just as a decade, my goodness, so cool. Now, I just want to acknowledge some of the people joining us. Disabled Kane is trying to get me to read his comment, which I'm not going to do, but it's up on the screen for everybody to read that. Does that mean you're coming to the Beach Boys with me on Saturday, Disabled Kane? Let me know. I sent you a message the other day. Beach Boys are in town, by the way. Have you ever seen them live, David?
No. And honestly, I would honestly say no desire to. It's just, they're not my cup of tea.
Oh, man. Beach Boys live. You'll know all the songs. They're so good.
I was hardcore into Beatles, but old Beatles and everything.
For sure.
I was hardcore into Beatles, and like, just the Beach Boys were kind of competition in my eyes. I don't know why.
They were.
I just kind of avoided them.
The Beatles themselves viewed the Beach Boys as competition. There was a huge competition going on to who could make the most, progressive album, and reason for Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Sgt. Pepper, was in answer to, oh my goodness, it just left my mind. The album from the Beach Boys, Pet Sounds, I believe it was called. So
I would have no idea.
So.
I stayed away from the Beach Boys whole era.
So cool music, very progressive. And the Beatles were like, oh, we got to do better than that, So anyways, it was really cool. They'll be in Sudbury, not tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night, Saturday night. Get your tickets, get down there. I'm going to be going down and checking them out. Starts at 8, I believe. And good morning to you, Nana. Good morning. Blessings, everyone. Northern Hillbilly. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, David. There's Nana. So you're going to have a lot of welcomes here. You're going to feel the love of our audience here big time. The smarter the phone gets, the dumber people get. When AI kicks in, it'll be idiocracy. When it kicks in good, it'll be idiocracy for sure. AI for sure is going to have an element of dumbing down people. There's no doubt about that. You go on to say a very good movie to watch is How Politics Work. Watch the Jones Plantation. I guess that's on Jim Jones, I would think, and his cult that he had, where everybody drank the Kool-Aid. That's where it comes from, Jim Jones. Monique, good morning to you. Hope you're having a good morning. Love the video you sent me this morning. I even wanted to play it. If David was having trouble getting on this morning and we had more time, I was definitely going to play it about our politics here in Canada with Pierre Poilievre getting huge people out to his rallies, but the media is making it sound like the Liberals are ahead in the polls, but yet Pierre Poilievre is bringing in record numbers of people. So people are going, huh? How are the Liberals ahead when Pierre Poilievre has had lineups, 10 blocks away to get into his rallies, but yet the Liberals are ahead in the polls. Mark Carney's rallies, he barely can fill a restaurant kind of thing. But Judy, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. Vin, morning to you. Hazel, good morning. Prayer emoji, much appreciated. Rick's got all kinds of emojis here. Clapping, peace signs, Canadian flags. Good morning to you, Mike, as well. Brian, Sudbury Patriots, Canada flag. Good morning, Brian. I sent you a message yesterday. So you want to check your text. And Marianne, good morning, everyone. From Barrie, happy Friday, liked and shared as usual. Vin says, fed my summer friends for the first time this year. The chipmunks are out. I don't know if you noticed any rabbits around the building, David. Last night or a couple nights ago, I looked out and I saw this streaking animal. I couldn't even tell what it was.
I'm more concerned with the bears.
Yeah, well, we did have a bear in the backyard last year, but that was because it was after the honey. So, yeah, but it was a rabbit because I went out yesterday and I saw the rabbit tracks, but I couldn't even tell what kind of animal it was. It was that fast. I thought it went as fast as a mouse would be, you know, in the house, when how fast mice go. That's what it looked like in the driveway. It looked like a mouse just streaked by, but the driveway is huge and it was a big animal. So I was like, what the heck was that? But it was a rabbit. So pretty darn fast.
Very cat rabbit.
Very surprising for sure. Marianne says the censorship in Canada is pretty harsh. And that's what's.
Oh, I completely agree with that.
Yeah. Huge. Yeah. Well, look at this, right? Like you can't even share news on Facebook in Canada. David,
I don't doubt it. Like the one thing I've noticed being American and coming over here is like I thought our media was bad in the US, but in Canada it's completely government controlled. Like I was so surprised to see that. They want to like watch you and everything that you do, and it was just so like kind of taken back because we're under a different opinion of the Canadian people in the US, and we're censored too. And I didn't find that out until I came up here, that we're censored as well. We're put up this image of this cookie cutter image that your healthcare system is 1,000 times better than anything because it's free and it's universal. That the people here are absolutely nice and friendly. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty that are.
Yeah.
But I've ran into some things that made me kind of question that several times. It's also got like absurd ones that literally Katrina has made fun of me quite a few times for. Just the simple idea of the fact that your police are in little red outfits and riding horses. That is 100% what people believe in the US because we get no news coming from Canada. We don't get your side of anything. It's almost like that's blocked off, but I feel like it's the exact same thing being here in Canada and watching your news and everything like that. I feel like it's the exact same thing. You're not being told the whole story and everything too, to where you're only listening to what they want you to believe or their narrative and everything. So it's very interesting to watch from both sides of it, or to have a perspective from both sides being an American in Canada.
Well, I lived in the United States for 2 years, and I was born on a border town, Sault Ste. Marie, so it was right, I grew up right there. I just look across. I was born maybe 100 meters away from the United States and spent a lot of time there. So I feel the United States is very close to me. And like I said, I lived there for 2 years. And I would tell people I lived in an igloo, and they believed me. I lived in an igloo. I have a sleigh, dog sled and sleigh, and pet beaver, and we raise moose.
And they 100% believe this.
Oh yeah, I could say anything and they'd believe it like that because it is true. Like there's these stereotypes and whatever. It's just odd that can take place in a modern world. And we had a comedian named Rick Mercer. You probably didn't see or hear anything of him, but his show was something what Americans believe or something like that. He would go down to Washington and talk to high-level politicians, including George W. Bush, before he became president, I believe. And he would say things like, okay, we have this issue in Toronto where, there's too many seals and stuff, and and our Prime Minister Tim Horton, um, he's trying to deal with the influx of seals, and so they're coming into our igloos and taking over and stuff. And he talked to George Bush, and George Bush was like, "Yeah, I condone uh, Prime Minister Tim Horton in doing what he's doing to get rid of the seals." He, this is the future president of the United States believing that people in
back
Toronto
back in
live in
that day,
igloos.
back in that day, that's pretty much like as if you were trying to have a conversation with Biden.
For
It was
sure.
just like, especially towards the end or the latter part of his presidency, it's almost like he just kind of faded into obscurity.
Definitely. I just want to give a shout out to Mary here. I don't remember seeing Mary on the show, so good morning to you, Mary. And I apologize to all of our folks. I'll usually, say good morning to everyone who's on, but this morning, because we have you on, David, we don't want to continually interrupt our conversation. But again, it's just this community that we have that we're constantly having a conversation with. So I'm getting
Oh, I think it's awesome.
a lot of love for you here, Dave. People saying good morning and welcome and things like that in the comments. Can you see comments up on your screen as I'm putting them up, or
Yes.
no? Okay, just so you know, they're coming up there. Um, so yeah, so in our media, why do you think the media sounds so much like it's government propaganda in Canada? Can you guess by any means, or have you come to a conclusion why our media in Canada pretty much just sounds like government propaganda these days?
It 100% resembles the media down in the States when Biden was in office. And they've already proven this. They've already got all this extreme proof and everything of how the media was quite literally paid by the US government and everything to push a narrative for the Democratic Party. And it's all 100% proof. It's written, and that kind of stuff. It's like seeing the exact same thing. When I come up here, I don't see positivity. I don't see a lot of positive on the networks. No, it's just damn this person, or like, well, we need to be strong for this and stuff like that. But yet none of them are actually communicating and actually talking to try to actually like solve the issue and everything, or any kind of issues or anything like that. Now they're just wanting the people to rise up, is what it seems like. And that's exactly how the news was for this past administration in the US. They were, oh, this is bad, this is bad, this is you need to do this, and they just kept saying the same thing over and over again. There's actually memes on TikTok and everything else where you'll have 40 channels of news, all different from different states and all across the country, but yet they all have the exact same line, and they say the exact same thing. We need to be worried about this. We need to be They were pushing a fear agenda. They were pushing their agenda, and they wanted people to get behind it. It's basically what we call sheep. They wanted the sheep to follow their little leader and vote as they want you to, command you to vote, and things like that. It's kind of like what you said, where it seems like uh, the liberals are, oh, we're winning, we're doing amazing things. Well, they also said that about Kamala, and then all of a sudden in the last minutes it was just too big to rig type of situation. And then Trump came in because he won every single swing state. I know it might be a little bit difficult being in a different country to understand what that means, but those swing states are what determine the presidency. And for somebody to win all of it, and including the popular vote and everything like that, but it's the same thing. Like, I'm seeing a lot of that rhetoric.
For sure. And I'm looking for a video right now where I have Justin Trudeau admitting that they pay off the media. That's why they do whatever they say. And for some reason, I'll usually put the name Trudeau, whatever, in when I email it to myself, but the search isn't working for some reason, trying to find this particular video. So I'm just going to go to YouTube, and I'm going to punch in Trudeau admits paying off the media, and hopefully it comes up here, because it's really him, because a lot of people will be listening here because we have a very liberal um, town here. And people don't. They say, where do you get this information from? I've never heard it, because they think mainstream media is the way that tells them everything about everything, right?
Oh yes.
So they're like, I never heard that before. And it's the very point we're trying to make, that you won't hear it on mainstream media because they're paid off. Let's see here if it'll come up. Hopefully it does.
It could definitely go in 100 different directions, just from what I've seen and what I've experienced. Um,
Yeah, here it is. I found it. So let's go. Let's just play this. And
You sometimes hear about liberal bias in the media these days, how they're constantly letting our government off the hook for no good reason. Frankly, I think that's insulting. It's clear that they let us off the hook for a very good reason, because we paid them $600 million.
okay, so from Trudeau himself,
Clear that
right?
they let us off the hook.
So there it goes. So it's not, people will be just thinking, oh, this is a right wing show. They just make things up, blah blah blah, and you don't show me proof. I get that all the time. I get people just coming on to like trolls, and they'll just laugh. There'll be like people on the far left, and they'll just laugh like, oh, this stuff is crazy. And they don't say, and this is the thing, speaking to somebody on the far left about these things that you don't hear in mainstream media because they pay them $600 million, Trudeau just said, that's the reason why they do what the Liberals want them to do, or the Liberal NDP coalition, whatever. They're both really far left. They're both communist in terms of their policies and the way they run things. They paid the media off. So right there, they come right out and say it. But many people, if I just mention it, they'll come on and say, oh, where did you get that from? Or that's AI, or that's not true, or whatever. And again, it's just, you can't say anything to people that, you just want to share real information. That's all I'm interested in doing on this show, is unpacking things, right? But I don't know. So you've experienced the same type of thing in the U.S. With the last election type of thing, right? With the media, knowing that it was compromised.
Easily. And you still see remnants of it. You still see remnants of it today, like what they call the legacy media and everything like that right now is they're all pushing an agenda that's absolutely like not true. They're trying to damn everything that anyone is trying to do within any kind of, if it doesn't go with their mission and stuff. But the thing that our government's basically doing is they're finding so much corruption, and so all these individuals that are trying to stop all these things, it's the reason why they're trying to stop all this stuff like the Doge and stuff like that. The reason why they're trying to stop it is because their names are somehow connected to getting all this money. Like, you don't have a politician that's only supposed to make 200,000 a year all of a sudden mysteriously have 28 million at the end of the year. Like, it's the people are getting paid, and people are actually like writing into the Constitution or writing amendments and stuff to where they actually get a kickback. They just found out that like former President Obama, just because of his Obamacare that he got approved, every single year he gets a kickback of $2.8 million.
Because it was his idea, almost like it was his business.
It's his idea and his name's on it. So he gets rights in perpetuity for that program still being in existence.
Wow.
And that's for the rest of his life.
That's
but
incredible.
See, they're finding so many other political, most of a lot of them, there are Democrats and Republicans in this, but they're finding that all these other like USAID and stuff like that, that's going to foreign countries and stuff like that, that it's all of a sudden they're going to shell companies, and then they're getting switched to another shell company, and then mysteriously it's getting connected to certain senators and stuff like, and individuals like that. And all of that is has been coming up recently, and that's the reason why they're so incredibly harsh on trying to stop this Doge thing, or this looking into where all the finances go. And I believe that every country should have this kind of department where they come in and they start sweeping and start seeing who's really getting the payments here, who's really getting this here and there. And I mean, like, really start shutting down some of these people that are getting kickbacks that shouldn't be.
Yeah, and if you look at Justin Trudeau's wealth, of course, he comes from a wealthy family to begin with. His dad was the former prime minister, and so they are part of the elite, the Laurentian elite, they call them in Canada, because a lot of them come from around Ontario and Quebec and whatever. So, and it's old money. And but Justin Trudeau's personal wealth wasn't all that much when he became prime minister. But if you look at what his wealth is now, you ask yourself, how did he get so wealthy as he was prime minister of Canada? Really, just ask yourself that and look into that. And apparently, he gets like something like 49% return on his investments. Like that's unheard of. How do you get 49% return on investments? The average is like 6 or 7 or 8, something like that if you're really good at
It's easy
investing.
when you're pushing the narrative or you're the one that's writing the legislation or anything like that to get those kickbacks. Or you're creating
Exactly.
up the program that's supposed to help the community so everybody's for it and says yes, and you'd be a sinner if you didn't approve this bill to help the all Canadians and everything. And then all of a sudden somebody's getting a kickback of like 1 million a year, 2 million a year for life.
Yeah,
That's
you know,
how government's working.
that's something that needs to be looked at. And I think they love keeping that secret because we have something in Canada called harm reduction. It's an ideology of how to deal with our people who are addicted to drugs. And the idea is there's harmful drugs out there that are laced with fentanyl and all kinds of things. And people that are addicted are dying. And so one way to combat this is to give them clean drugs. Give them clean drugs and paid for by taxpayers' dollars. And so
I
they
have
set up
seen
these
that
safe
in a
injection
video in
sites.
Vermont or Vancouver.
Yeah, in BC is where they really rolled it. That's really progressive out there. They have an NDP government. They're really hyper progressive out there. Progressive meaning regressive in my view. But they want to make harmful drugs legal, like cocaine, heroin, even fentanyl, as long as it's clean. And this is the thing, they teach you how to do it. They have dispensaries where they give you the tools like a crack pipe and stuff, and you go in and you get that. But yeah, this is paid for by our tax dollars. So I can't help but thinking what you just brought up, where politicians, they're involved in some business venture or something, where they're getting kickbacks, that somehow it's legal. They've made some legislation, they've made a bill or something that makes it okay for them to do this, but the public isn't aware of it. And the reason why they're so staunch advocates for this is because they're making millions of dollars off these initiatives. Do you think I'm onto something there?
Oh no, I'm 100% believe that the reason why like the Democrats right now are fighting really hard against all the deportations that Trump's trying to do to get all these gang members and all these drug dealers and labeling the cartels as terrorist groups. The reason he's going after them and everything like that is that exact same thing. And then guess what? You think everybody in a country would be like, getting the drugs out, get all these criminals out? Absolutely. Like everybody be happy about it. But no, there's certain individuals in the government that are like, oh no, this is bad. We should have these illegal immigrants and stuff and like that in our country. We should have these murderers and rapists and drug dealers in our country. The reason why they're fighting back is because somewhere down the line, they're getting paid by either these cartels, or they're getting a little kickback from getting the sale of these things, and
Or
they're finding
like
that.
you said, the programs that are
Oh yeah.
initiated in order to help illegal aliens, which they're not supposed to be called anymore. All these things that you're branded racist if you talk like that. If you say someone comes into a country illegally, that even they saying that is racist and stuff. But I think you're onto something where you say maybe some of these initiatives that these politicians make are making them money. You know, like the new American with no papers initiative. You know, I'm introducing this bill and it's going to have millions of dollars associated with it. And because I came up with the bill, I get a kickback, right? Is that what you're saying?
It's not, but it's not just the bills. Like the bills are, yes, but I mean, like everybody knows, like if you've ever watched anything from Lord of War, like even some of these movies, I know they're far-fetched, but quite a few of them are actually ring true. uh, every government, USA is definitely a big part of that. Every government finds a way to buy arms from different countries under the table and everything else. But it isn't just that. It goes to drugs as well. It isn't just weapons. It has to do with drugs, and everybody makes these shady deals, and every country makes one or two of these little shady deals. You don't just like. Recently, I read that Canada has sent even more money to Ukraine, which that's to me is like, I'm glad for my country that Donald Trump immediately stopped that. the influx of money going to some other country when your country, in my opinion, is suffering, is hurting. Your medical system is hurting. Your people are like quite literally hurting. And I recently read an article where one of your own provinces has declared an emergency because people can't eat in
Mm-hmm.
Canada. Like they can't afford the food prices. I was about to make a joke on my social media, and it wasn't really even a joke. It was just me going to an independent grocery store and going, what is going on, Canada? Even with the difference in the amount of US to Canadian dollars, one can of corn should not be $4.99. In the US, it's 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, some of these things are just like, and this is before the tariffs. This was back this summer and everything when I was here. So it's just like I made these videos where it's just like you wouldn't believe. I know there's a difference in like a 30-cent difference per dollar, but either way, for the amount of money that you guys are paying in bread and stuff like that, it makes me like you. And you don't get enough as it is, because everything that I've been told and everything that I've literally been heard every time I talk to somebody that works in Canada and everything, even down to an automotive shop, to an ice cream parlor, talking to the owner, every bit of income that you guys are making is like 60% of it might as well just be kissed away, and you're giving it right back to the government and getting no real benefits. Yes, you're getting free healthcare, but hey, you get what you pay for. Uh, some of this stuff is just like, it's overwhelming to see some of the stuff, and why honestly you guys haven't risen up. I mean, like the US, we hit for because of a 2% raise in like tax and everything. There was the Boston Tea Party and stuff. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
just seeing that you guys are working to fund your government that doesn't work for you. Look at your roads, look at your infrastructure, look at the people that are overdosing, that are bent halfway over and can't even walk, or ripping off their clothes in the middle of downtown Sudbury, uh, just because they are on some new drug or some lace drug, uh, is amazing to me. Like I said something to your daughter that I think is like a great, fantastic idea, and I would love for it to get to actually like whatever government governs Sudbury. You have this rainbow colored building that is just trashed and looks horrible and
So
everything like that.
the
It
old
used to be an old
St.
hospital,
Joseph Hospital. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and it looks absolutely horrible. So I got a great idea. Like, you have so many homeless, you have so many like people that are dying from drugs and everything like that. Why doesn't the government start refurbing that building, giving the homeless people jobs and skill sets and stuff like that, like training them to do electrical work, training them to refurb their own building, give them housing in the meantime inside that own building, but yet train them as skills. So as it gets refurbed, it doesn't cost the government very much, because they're training their individuals to help refurb that building. It gives them a skill
Mm-hmm.
set that can get them off of stuff, but also provide an actual service for the community. And it could build them up as a trait, to have a skill set so that they can go on should they get better, instead of giving them, oh, here's some drugs and here's some needles and stuff like that. We're going to give you the equipment to get worse, or like this time you at least don't have to pay for it. We'll just give it to you. Instead of doing that, why don't you start using what you have and start building up your community and try to help individuals? I think that building would be a fantastic idea, in a program where you could get some of the homeless off the street, give them a skill set to where they can make good money and have a future possibly. It'll give them housing, because you'll be using that building as the housing, and it turns an eyesore, which is with broken windows and just looking with fences all wrapped around it and everything like that. But it gets also the homeless that are dying in the winter from frostbite, which is clogging your hospitals. It gives them somewhere warm to stay, and it gives them a future. So
Yeah,
quite literally,
you mentioned a lot of good things there, and I know it's resonating with a lot of the people on the show right now. Um, but that's forward thinking. That's common sense. You're saying a lot of common sense. It doesn't work,
it
especially
doesn't exist
in
here.
a socialist, more in a socialist environment. It doesn't work because everything is run by government programs, right? Like you said. So if it doesn't go in line with a government program and you can't get funding from the government, which has an ideology along with it, all the bureaucrats in government. So when you're saying, yeah, let's use this building as a place for the homeless, right away I can hear someone from the city go, yeah, but what about the liabilities? We'd have to renovate that building so that way it would be up to code. And then anyone injured in there would come back as a lawsuit against us. So we can't really do that. So, it's not in our best interest to put the city at risk with lawsuits. We just, there's something in the news here of a lady that was killed 10 years ago by a construction company. She was run over by a grader. Just happened right in front of my wife and my daughter while they were coming out of the dentist. They saw her get run over. And the city was trying to fight that because, again, they'd have to pay out, and the construction company that was paid for by the city to do the work, they try and fight these things in court because they don't want to be liable and they don't want their insurances to go up and things like that. So there's lots of red tape. And that's the thing, in a socialist bordering on communist type of country, too much government red tape. The government wants to do everything and they want to get all the benefits from it as well. Like you had mentioned, all these high level politicians making these initiatives. Well, because they branded it or whatever, they have some way of getting, some royalties or something. There's some way of doing it. And like you mentioned too, with the drug thing, drug money isn't above board. It's all it's all black market stuff. It's like drug money is way to do things without having to go through Congress or go through Parliament and get, people to okay things. They can just do things with this money behind the scenes and no one really sees it. So someone drops you off a thing of cash at your back doorstep or whatever, that's not traceable, right? So it can all be done through drug money. And that's why they're not doing anything about the drugs. That's why we still
I know
have
about the red tape and everything, like such as like the building or whatever. But I really believe that that yes, everybody's like, oh well, how are we going to get the cash for that? How are we going to afford that? Well, you're already financing programs with like giving people drugs and stuff like that, but you're also financing more because it's clogging your hospitals, it's hurting your people, because these druggies are coming into, or these people that are like doing drugs and everything, they're coming into your favorite cafes downtown and screaming and making a scene. They're making it inappropriate for your children to even walk by because you see somebody getting naked and taking off their clothes and everything. People that are way gone. One of my very first experiences, and I told your daughter about this, that I was like, wow, this is a great welcome. You drive downtown and your government building has a big yard of crosses of people that have died from overdoses and stuff. I was like, that says welcome to Sudbury,
It does. It says welcome like nothing else can.
Oh,
right?
yeah, but I mean, like, you're worried about if the red tape individuals are like, where are we going to get the money and everything like that? Well, even if it was through donations, you're sitting on a building that's just literally sitting there, and quite literally you can pay these individuals, teach them a skill, help them clean it up and everything like that. Yes, it's going to cost money a little bit in the long run, but I think it'll in the wintertime, when your hospital is at a 25-hour wait time from somebody that gets there by ambulance, that is unbelievable. That is insane. That should never happen.
For sure.
But all the homeless individuals and all the people that are doing drugs and stuff that are on the streets, it's so bitterly cold up here that they go to the hospital because they're sick. They go to their hospital just so they can spend a little bit more warmth in there. Therefore, it clogs your whole med system and everything else. So it's costing more, and it's costing people's lives.
But this is the thing, David. It's about bloated government. Because these are the people that make these decisions. So you or I, let's say we go into City Hall and we say, we got a great idea. So a great idea comes to City Hall. Then what happens with that great idea? Who do you talk to about it? So you talk to one person. So the mayor, he says, oh, that's a good idea. Let's try that. Then he goes to one department. The department says, well, we can't do that. There's too much liability. We don't have the money for that. We have to get it into the budget, and we got to get it passed by this different department, and then that department's got to talk to that department, and then if you get a few activists in there that have things to gain with ideology and things, and just trying to move a huge giant sloth. It's like a giant
Well, that's any
sloth.
government. That's
That's what I
even in the
mean. The
U.S.
bigger it is, the more giant the sloth, and the slower the sloth is to do anything.
But could
And
you
it
see
takes
how
forever.
amazing, like the mayors, like just the overall look of a government that would be actually working for the people? Like you could play on a mayor's ego, I guess, and say, "Look, do you want to know how the people will love you? How the people will vote for you over and over again? Well, how about you find a way to make this happen? We can do donations, we can do rallies, we can do this, we can do
Sure.
that. We can get funding. We don't need to be hurting in people and watching them just suffer every winter. We don't need to have like our your roads, the potholes and everything like that. Start employing homeless individuals and teach them a skill, teach them how to do this, so you're giving them gainful employment, but yet you're actually getting more done because you have a bigger workforce. You can even, not that I would condone paying them less or anything like that, but quite literally just the experience and everything like that would be rewarding, and everything. So it's just like you can give them shelter or something like that for their services to your community. So
For
it
sure.
saves the government even more money
But it's not
by
about saving
housing them
money.
into a building.
Why would they care about saving money when they can just continue to tax people?
Print more.
Print more, tax more.
That's kind of what I
Like
noticed. It's
they
like
don't
they print
care.
a
They
lot.
don't care about saving money. It's not about that because money it's a bottomless pit for them. And again, it's like a cancer, right? It's just like a cancer that eats away at the host until there's no more host. And that's what socialism and communism doesn't really get. They haven't got that yet. There's only so much
It's
you can extract
definitely
from
been
the
killing you
host,
guys.
for sure. Now,
I
on
mean,
a
like every Canadian that I've talked to, like I'm not joking. Like after everything,
yeah,
you work your butt off for let's say 40 hours a week, uh, and you're only getting paid for about 15 of those hours,
for
and
sure.
then you're supposed to feed your family,
Yep.
pay your rent, which rent up here is, oh my god, insane. It's about a grand more for something even better down in the US. I can straight say that with confidence. Like
No,
I can
no,
get a
we've had
two-bedroom
many
down in the
times.
States
Yeah,
and it'd be phenomenal.
Pierre Polyev pointed out, he did a huge video on this about comparable prices of homes from Canada compared to the US. You can get a mansion in the US compared to like a small bungalow in Canada. But you know
Oh yeah.
why? Speaking good of our potholes, like you never heard about the NASA coming here and practicing, the moon landing with the moon rovers, right?
No,
It's
I've
be-
not
Well,
never heard
because
that.
the potholes in Sudbury are so close to the craters on the moon, they came here with the moon rovers and they were like, yeah, this is real good practice for being on
I
the
would
moon.
know. Recently I just spent $1,500 to replace ball joints and shocks and everything on a
See,
truck that had no problems before.
it's a good it's a good investment into the economy, right? Like if you keep your potholes, it really drives the economy because everyone's constantly changing tires, changing ball joints, paying lots of money to the mechanic industry. Now, unfortunately, David, that's all the time we got for the show today. We didn't have much. An hour goes by really fast
Oh
here
no, I
when
get
you're
it. I go live all the time.
yeah when you're having a conversation. Just flies right by, and we're on the radio, so we can't just kind of we'll just keep talking kind of thing because the next show has to come on. But I really appreciate you coming on today, and I know the audience did as well. It was a great conversation. It's really great to get there's Disabled Kane wanting me to say this comment, but I'm not going to. Um, but yeah, no, it's really great to get an American perspective, and we should have you on because I think there's a lot of things that we kind of wanted to touch on we didn't get a chance to. But as we go through these tariffs and this price war and inflation and all these things going on, and you had some experiences talking about people seeing your license plate and taking offense to that or whatever, wanting to
Yes,
have a conversation.
don't have an American flag as a license plate,
You know,
because then that just what people want to go after you, like as if I was the one that imposed the tariffs.
so yeah, if you see a guy driving around with an American license plate in a truck, be gentle on him. It's not his fault that we have tariffs. It just happened to be he was born in a certain country, and I appreciate the country he was born in, and I think there's a lot more good than bad that our media is perpetuating all these bad things that are going on. We'll get through this. no, we don't need elbows up. We don't need to be booing any national anthems. Why don't we just try to be the real Canadians that we know we can be, is integral Canadians, and treat others with respect, and try to get the knowledge before we make assumptions and lash out or be emotional rather than knowing why we're doing what we're doing. Not let our emotions get the best of us, or at least get informed so that you're not so emotional about things, or get informed so you can be emotional about the right things and make the right decisions. And
I
so,
will say this on the tariff thing that he did drop the other day when he was talking about tariffs.
Yeah.
If you look at all those countries, Canada was not on there. So
True.
there's something happening behind the scenes that's not being talked about. So
For sure.
just keep your eyes open.
Yeah, he kept the aluminum and steel on that he had, but again, that's just one thing. And then he didn't ding us the same way. Like, he didn't have reciprocal tariffs the same way that he did with other countries. So, yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about that and being positive. So, again, thanks,
Another
Dave.
show.
Thanks. Yeah, we're going to do this again very soon. So I appreciate you coming on, and I know our audience did too. So thanks again for that. And stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM, everyone. And we'll be back same time, same places, on the same platforms, God willing, on Monday. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Take care. And remember to stay aware, like, share, take care. Ciao, everyone. Ciao, David.
See you later.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.